All right, buckle up because we're diving deep into this 49ers-Cowboys matchup. This one, it wasn't just a game, was it? You sent this in, and I got to say, I think you're onto something. This feels like a turning point, maybe for both teams, but especially for Dallas. Hidden tensions, the stuff most fans don't see, that's what we're digging into.
Yeah, and the Cowboys, I mean, they came in with so much hype, right? Fresh off the bye, ready to roll, and then it all went sideways, fast.
So rewind with me to halftime. 10-6, Cowboys had the lead, things look good on paper. But then, bam, the Niners just unload 21 unanswered points in the third quarter. What happened?
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. The score was close at the half, yeah. But the 49ers defense, they were already in control, gave up some yards, but shut down Dallas every time it mattered.
It's almost like they were setting a trap.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, were the Cowboys just completely outcoached? Did the 49ers have some secret plan they unleashed in the second half?
Okay, we can't avoid this Dak Prescott. 2 interceptions, not what you want from your franchise quarterback. That first one, Deere Brown picked it off. Dak was under pressure, tried to force it deep.
Yeah, Brown was in the right place at the right time. But the second interception, that's the one that makes you think. Diamador Lenoir, he jumps the route on CeeDee Lamb like he knew exactly what was coming.
Like he was reading Dak's mind.
And that's the worry, isn't it? Our defense is figuring Dak out, especially when he's under pressure.
It's not just one game. I was reading this article that said, the longer this season goes on, the more you reach an inescapable conclusion about the Cowboys. They're a middling team whose off-season inactivity allowed them get passed by their NFC rivals. Is this just a slump or something more?
That's the big question. And then you've got Brock Purdy on the other side. Not putting up crazy numbers, but efficient, making the key plays.
Plus, he was pretty slippery out there, dodging sacks, extending plays with his legs.
And here's what I think is going on. Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach, he's built this perfect system for Purdy. Quick passes, screens. He's using Purdy's strengths and hiding the weaknesses.
So maybe Purdy's not some genius, but Shanahan's the mastermind.
It's a theory. Or maybe, and this is scary for Cowboys fans, maybe Shanahan's holding back Purdy's full potential, just waiting for the playoffs. Who knows what tricks he's got up his sleeve?
Now let's talk about the surprises in this game. Jordan Mason for the Niners, he came out of nowhere after McCaffrey and Mitchell went down with injuries.
Oh, man. Talk about stepping up. Powerful running, exactly what they needed. But of course, then he gets hurt too, out with a shoulder injury.
So now the Niners' backfield is a total mystery. What happens next? Could this be rookie Ricky Purcell's chance? He had some good plays.
Definitely something to watch. But we can't move on without talking about the big names, right?
Mm.
Kittle and Lamb, they both put on a show, but was there more to it? Let's just say the energy was different. You could feel it. Remember that hit on Turpin, the punt return?
Yeah, things got pretty chippy after that.
Both teams with personal fouls, and I'm hearing that Kittle and Lamb, things got really heated between them. Some serious trash talk, the kind you don't see on TV.
Hold on, so you're saying there's this whole rivalry, this bad blood that nobody's talking about. What happened?
Let's just say, my sources tell me things got very personal, and it makes you wonder, did that affect how they played? Did it fuel them or distract them?
This is what I'm talking about, the stuff you don't get from the highlights.
Yeah.
Okay, switching gears here. We got to talk about the Cowboys coaching. Some of those late game calls, they were questionable. That last drive, down by 6, plenty of time left, and Dak's just throwing deep, incomplete passes. What was McCarthy thinking?
It's hard to understand. There's been a lot of talk about McCarthy's play calling, and not in a good way. Was he panicking? Did he overthink it? This isn't the first time he's been criticized for his in-game decisions either.
Well, and this loss just adds fuel to the fire, right? What's the feeling in Dallas? Is McCarthy on the hot seat?
Oh, yeah, social media is blowing up. Cowboys fans are calling for his head.
Yeah.
It's that negativity, you know? It can spiral out of control if they don't turn things around.
It's contagious, that negativity. One loss turns into 2, and suddenly the whole season's slipping away. Is Dallas on the verge of a meltdown?
Let's talk about that next, because what happens off the field, that matters too. The locker room, the fans, it all affects the team.
This is where it gets really interesting. Inside the locker room, the whispers, the doubts.
Yeah.
Could this be the beginning of the end?
So Dak's post-game comments, he was trying to stay positive, but you could hear the frustration in his voice, the weight of everything.
He's got a whole franchise on his shoulders. That pressure, it's got to get to you.
No doubt. And there are rumors, right? Tension between players, doubts about the coaches. McCarthy was already on thin ice after last year.
So is this the final straw? Is this loss the thing that breaks them?
Hard to say, but it definitely exposed some cracks, didn't it? The question is, can they fix it before it's too late?
Because if they don't, all that doubt, that negativity, it'll eat them alive. And their next game, it's the Falcons. They should win that one. But if they come out flat, if they let those demons in...
It could be the start of a downward spiral, a spiral that ends with them missing the playoffs.
Okay, we've got locker room drama, a coach on the hot seat, and a team that looks like it's falling apart. But there's one more thing. The conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, Cowboys fans and the refs. It's a classic.
And this week, it's all over social media. They're pointing to a few calls, that illegal formation on the Niners, a couple of missed pass interferences, and they're saying the refs were biased.
Now, let's be real. There's no evidence of any conspiracy against the Cowboys. But the psychology of it, that's fascinating, isn't it?
It's not really about the calls themselves, is it? It's about why fans, especially Cowboys fans, latch on to these theories, especially when their team is losing.
It's like they need an explanation. When your team plays well and still loses, it's easier to blame the refs than to accept that the other team was just better.
It's about protecting their ego, holding on to that little bit of hope.
Right. And it shows how passionate Cowboys fans are. They care so much that they'll believe almost anything to avoid dealing with a loss.
But that passion, it can turn into anger, into frustration. And that's why the Cowboys are in such a dangerous spot right now. They need to turn that passion into something positive, something that unites them.
Yeah, but that's easier said than done, especially when you've got a coach who might get fired, a quarterback who's struggling, and a locker room full of tension.
Okay, let's look ahead. The Cowboys, can they bounce back from this? Can they actually make a playoff run?
Well, first up is the Falcons, and honestly, they have to win that one. Atlanta's not exactly a powerhouse this year.
But the Cowboys have a way of making things complicated, don't they? They've lost to some teams they really should have beaten.
Yeah, and after the Falcons, it gets brutal. Eagles, Texans on Monday Night Football, Commanders, then the Giants on Thanksgiving. 4 games in 19 days, 3 of those against division rivals.
That's rough. That's where we'll see what they're made of. Can they handle the pressure? And for the love of all that is holy, can they get the running game going?
The running game, that's the missing piece, right? They brought in Dalvin Cook to work with Zeke, but it's not working. Cook had 1 carry for 1 yard against the Niners. 1.
It's mind-boggling. They've got 2 great running backs, and they can't figure it out. And it's not just the run game. They need other guys to step up. CeeDee Lamb can't be the only weapon.
No, for sure. They've got the talent, but that's not enough in this league. You got to execute, play as a team, trust each other.
And that brings us back to the big question. Can McCarthy get it done? Can he rally the team? Can he make the changes they need?
That's what everyone wants to know. And if they lose a couple more, especially early in this tough stretch, well, Jerry Jones might pull the trigger.
A midseason coaching change, that's always risky. But sometimes it's what a team needs.
True. And let's not forget, they still got to play the Bengals, the Bucks, and they've got the Eagles twice in the second half of the season. It ain't getting any easier.
So, bottom line, playoffs or bust for the Cowboys? What do you think?
Playoffs, I don't know. They need to win, and they need to win now. Momentum is everything. Right now, they're spiraling downwards.
But this IS the NFL, crazy things happen. Maybe this loss to the Niners, maybe it was a wake-up call, maybe it lighted a fire under them.
Maybe, but they got to show us. Talk is cheap.
This whole conversation, it makes me think about something bigger. Expectations. Legacy.
America's team, that star on the helmet, the history, the fans.
Yeah, all of that. Does it weigh them down? They haven't won a Super Bowl in forever. Are they victims of their own hype?
That's a good question. Maybe they need to redefine what success means. Focus on building a team, playing with heart. Stop worrying about what everyone else expects.
That's an interesting thought. Maybe this deep dive, it's not just about the game itself, it's about identity, about finding a way to deal with pressure.
And that's why I love these deep dives. You start with one thing, and it takes you to all these unexpected places.
It's about peeling back the layers, right? Finding the hidden stories, remembering that sports, it's about more than just winning or losing. It's about people.
That's what we're all about here, exploring those stories. The truth, whatever it is, that's what matters.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another one. The stories never end, do they?